Anyway, so while that was happening, what was it? Friday night, and everything like that. We got back to the hotel. We're just doing our own thing and everything, and I brought my iPad just in case because excellent reason for it.
Yes.
Batman Cape Crusader came out and immediately
I was confused where
texted
you're going
you and
with
said,
that. I
"Hey,
was
just finished the
confused.
first
Yeah.
episode or about to start or whatever." And
Yeah,
you're like,
you're
"Oh
about
yeah,
to
I'm
start. You
already
were like,
done."
how? Yeah.
I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Like, how'd you?"
Yeah.
And so
I
that's how I
got
was like, "Well,
sucked
how
in
many
hard.
episodes is it?"
I
So
got,
it's 10 episodes. Clearly, I can tell. Um, but now, so it's before we begin,
oh, yeah.
official
Again,
spoiler alert again. If you know what the shit spoiled,
if you haven't seen it yet
so
and are wishing to stay spoiler free,
yeah.
then
Or if you just
obviously,
don't care, then
yeah,
proceed as normal.
then probably turn off from this podcast because that's what we're going to talk about for the
Yep.
rest of the podcast. And we'll see you
Yeah,
in 2 weeks or however
pretty
long it's going to
much.
be until the next
Exactly.
podcast.
But yeah, so the Batman Crusader show came out on Prime Video.
Yep, on
Honestly,
Friday.
what was your first impression? There were 10 episodes,
So,
25 minutes or so episodes. I thought the length of the episodes was perfect.
mhm.
Didn't
so
feel too
going
long, didn't feel too
into
short.
it, so going into it, I was pretty much even when I heard that they were coming out with the series, because originally
I
it
knew
was going to
nothing.
be it was going to go come out to Max and be on like their DC portion,
That
but
that would make
DC
sense.
and I think Max scrapped it. They literally like, scrapped the idea for budget reasons or some money reason, I'm sure.
Interesting.
So they
Okay.
scrapped it, and then Amazon Prime picked it up. Which I mean, when you have Matt Reeves, J.J. Abrams, and Bruce
I
Timm
mean,
attached
it's
to it, I mean, even Star Wars fans, even though I know a lot of people are not a big fan of like the latest saga or whatever it was, when they
yeah,
heard J.J. Abrams is going to direct Star Wars,
yeah,
like you had to
or
have
like
something,
produce, yeah.
yeah, or
Oh yeah,
producer, do
like
whatever. You
because I
had
mean,
some, you're like, okay, okay,
I kind of like where this is going. I'm not gonna
yeah.
lie, I didn't even realize he was a producer until I saw the credits. It's like, oh, he's a producer. Oh, that's awesome. Because like even say we like say what you want about the Star Wars series or anything with him directing. I
The
personally
name
love J.J.
J.J.
Abrams. Like
Abrams
it
is,
just
yeah,
it just like not to this level, but it's a name like the Russo brothers for Marvel. Work once you hear that name, it jumps out at you. It's like oh wow, I'm automatically interested.
mhm. Uh, but for me, those two actually like, didn't do much for me. It was more because Bruce Timm was involved, and for me, I am a
Yeah,
giant like animated DC
yeah,
nerd.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
so for me, when I heard that, it's like, oh, I'm
yeah,
so in because majority of the
yeah.
stuff he's come out with, I've enjoyed
It has been
thoroughly.
like hits.
Hits and hits and
Yeah,
hits. Pretty much my childhood too, in
yeah,
there as well. So though, and once I saw that, it's like, oh yeah, this is going to be good. I had a
yeah.
feeling it was going to be
I
good, and
honestly
but I wasn't
didn't
going to
know
go
anything
too.
about. I didn't even know it was coming out until I saw something online. It was like, oh, they're coming out with the new Blame and Batman show. I'm like, I'm all for it.
Yeah,
Let's
I
do
think it's
this.
supposed to kind of take place not in the same realm, but kind
Mm,
of spin off ish sort of Batman the animated series back in the '90s, which makes sense
I
since Bruce Timm
yeah,
was also on that one.
that does make sense. Yeah.
But for
But
me,
no, and also I love the original costume too that they came out with. Like actually, he's in his original like
oh
light
yeah, yeah.
gray
Not just
classic
that, the
Batman logo.
animation in general is
It was
incredible
good.
for the show and everything. And I enjoyed the
Yeah.
40s, the like 40s
Yeah.
aesthetic because depending on the
Yep.
Batman, it kind of varies in terms of when they take place. Like obviously, like
Right.
the Christopher Nolan Batmans took place like current
Like present
day.
day.
Sometimes they take place like in the 80s around Cold War
Yep.
times. Other times it's pretty much
But
when
this you
Batman
could
first
tell
came
because
out with.
like with how like the characters were dressed and everything like that. I love how there's like clearly like a mob like mentality throughout
Oh
the
yeah.
show.
Hmm.
So it was cool. I loved it. Now there's a couple like characters that like people I've seen online that have some like don't want to get into them like too much to the T on like some of them because not
Not everyone's
definitely
a big
not.
fan of the change of
Yeah.
characters. Yes.
Yes, that's the best way of putting it.
Yes. I
I
know where you're
will
going with
say,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I will say, it definitely caught me off guard because I was, like I said, I had
You
not
weren't
seen
expecting
anything
it.
about this, or
I don't
and I
think
wasn't
anyone
expecting it
nobody was for
actually.
his actually like the show itself.
Yeah,
What I enjoyed most, and I've been seeing like videos here and there of other people talking about it and
Mm.
everything. I kind of like the fact that none of the big baddies, like villains, weren't in the season. And for me personally, I kind of like origin stories. Not always, but
I love origin
if they're
stories.
told right, I
Yeah.
think they like better. Like I think Spider-Man is better than Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire is still the best Spider-Man movie. It edges out Spider-Man 2 a little bit, I think. It goes back and forth with me, but I
Wow.
like that one. For Christopher
That's a hot
Nolan,
take.
I know people don't like it as much as like Dark Knight, but to me, Batman Begins is the best out of the Christopher Nolan
It's
movies.
funny you mention that because literally I was starting to watch Batman Begins earlier today just because when we were talking about the Batman
Yeah,
shades and stuff like
but
that. So
I
I'm like, yeah,
liked
I'm
the
Batman
idea that
Begins
even in the
now.
first episode, you heard of this, like the people in Gotham, like heard like he was some like mythical or some,
Yeah.
you know, rumors of this bat creature, but they didn't
Mm.
know
Didn't
Batman
know
yet.
actually. Yeah, they didn't
So
know he
you,
actually existed.
yeah. So the fact that like it's pretty much him just starting out as Batman is something it jumps
Which,
out to me. I know as Bruce Wayne, there's always those the playboy kind of
yeah,
persona that he kind of plays
yep,
off that kind of balances, being Batman and everything.
yep,
But what I like kind of more in this one is that he's more not like an asshole, but he's more of a playboy kind of thing.
yeah,
He's playing off that more than other times where he's saying he's being more one of the townspeople. He's more welcoming kind of thing,
yep,
being more generous. Not that he isn't generous, because even in this series, he's trying to build orphanages or
yep.
low housing for like poor people and everything. So it's not that he's not generous and everything. He's just playing off the
No,
persona of it more in this
which I
series
kind of like too. It is
because
different, but
because I
I
think it's
enjoy
trying to
that.
say like he's a younger, obviously he's a younger Bruce Wayne. So because of that, he's
Yeah,
trying to be,
yeah,
you see him being
but it's good.
more immature and everything.
I guess now, how did you feel about each villain, especially like some of the bigger names that we get to
So
see? So the biggest one that like jumped out right away first episode, and the only one in the first episode was the Penguin. Now,
mhm.
what to most surprising, including myself, is they actually casted and made the Penguin in this show a female instead of male, which is very different and surprising.
Mhm.
But it definitely caught me off
Yeah,
guard at first. But
burlesque singer.
the way that they portrayed her was honestly amazing because she was cruel. She was just like
Yep,
ruthless,
she
which
was.
honestly I was not expecting because like the Penguin in the previous movies and shows is like it's a pretty well known villain and like
He is.
yeah,
He's I think they played her more because he's trying to be more of like a CEO or kind of
yeah,
run the whole thing. He's
yep.
not trying to get his hands too dirty kind of thing. He's
No,
kind of
which
he's
is
gonna be the guy up top, but he's gonna be,
yeah,
you
he's
know,
kind of doing things from the side and let someone else take the fall. But like for
yeah,
her, she's like, no, this is my thing. I'm doing this, and
yeah.
that was different. But I like that a lot. And you showed like how dark she got too, which I love for
So the
characters like
thing
that. So,
I actually like most was the villains we don't see often. Because we've seen the
which again,
Batman
we don't really.
villains and
Yep.
all those his rogues gallery
Yeah.
plenty of times. And
Mhm.
the thing that's why I kind of like Bruce Timm being on this too, because he's
Yep.
known for bringing in characters. He created Harley Quinn.
Yeah. Which I. Well, so that's another thing that too that
So
I almost have a gripe with. It's one of the few gripes I should have, if any at all, is I love that you have some of these iconic characters, but I kind of hate how fast and like
quickly
just
goes through
short
them.
their
Yeah.
time is because so the Penguin we know she's still alive to my understanding. I might have to rewatch the first episode again. She should be alive, right? So
Yeah, she was just
yeah.
arrested.
Okay, then that's
She's
good. She's okay. So she's alive,
he
but
just
like
had her in handcuffs and then
that okay, that's
yeah.
right. That's right. But no,
Like
so she's alive.
she turns to him and says something, but he's gone. Batman's
Yeah.
gone, and I think
That's right. That's
I
right.
think Coast Guard or someone's already
Yes,
circled.
that's right. Okay, but we know she's alive, which is I'm fine with. But like Harley Quinn, she falls off
Still
a cliff
alive.
and
Yeah.
dies. Oh, I'm sorry, no, she's
Sorry.
alive because
She's
she did
alive.
call
Sorry,
it.
people. Yeah. There's
Yeah,
your first spoiler. She's still
yeah.
alive.
Which I it's just I keep thinking. I'm, okay, I'm glad you remind me because That was at the end of the Harley Quinn episode. That's what confused me for a second. I was like, "Oh, is this a recording to the one cop?" Or no, that was actually her. I'm glad you mentioned. Now Harvey Dent
But
in the last episode, he died.
that's what I liked the most actually was that because we've seen and it's kind of reminded me a little
We've
bit
seen Two Face, yeah.
of how it was for Dark Knight, where you
Yep.
kind of saw his whole kind of origin from him being a
Yes.
DA, him trying to run for mayor, not really doing successful campaigning or wise, so that's why he has to go try to get money in shady places, going to Rupert Thorne and
Yep.
everything. But then once
I
he,
like how like you got to see. Now I like that for Harvey Dent himself, you got to see him from beginning to very
yes,
end.
yeah,
I just didn't like the small fact that this iconic character in Two Face
is
was there for a very short time. I love what they did with him, but I would have loved to see more of him as well because
I would
he's
too,
such
but
an
this
amazing character.
season
But I
very
love that
much
he's just
was
yeah,
creating the world, like introducing
yeah,
these
no, that's
characters and
a good
everything.
point.
So I think season two is going to probably go more into characters and everything.